Welcome to NTR Takeout. Latest TikTok news on President Donald Trump agenda for next term. We'll hear Elon Musk warning to Congress as well as the NYC firefighter union who endorsed Trump and now angry and outraged as 9/11 healthcare funding gets cut. A message from Bernie Sanders and more. Please be sure to like the video, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California.
Newsom.
He signed Newsom, like all.
Yeah. But do you think...
No, he corrected me. He corrected me. I said, that's the first time I've been corrected.
There are CEOs out here, if they said those sort of things about a rival CEO, they'd be sacked. Do you think it's fine for a president?
But they don't have to survive like me. They don't have to go through what I have to go through. There's never been a president that's been treated like me, so I have to fight my own way.
Well, you made a very good job of...
He signed a bill in California 2 days ago that you don't even have the right to ask a person for voter ID. And if you ask a person for voter ID, of course you have to show voter ID. The only reason you wouldn't do it because they want to cheat. The bill says you cannot, it's against the law for you to ask a person, may I please see your voter ID when he votes? What is our country coming to?
California Governor Gavin Newsom wasting no time reportedly drawing up plans to help illegal migrants dodge deportation when President-elect Trump takes office. According to an internal memo obtained by Politico, Newsom is planning an immigrant support network to connect at-risk individuals, their families, and communities with legal services, schools, labor unions, local governments, etc. Ron Vitello served as Border Patrol chief during President Trump's first term. He's also been the acting director of ICE as well as a deputy commissioner of CBP. Ron, hope you had a fantastic Christmas. California is really trying to get out there, according to Gavin Newsom, in pushing back on the effort to finally get the border chaos under control. What do you make of this?
Merry Christmas, Griff. This is destructive leadership shown by Gavin Newsom in California. We just had an election on November 5th. People voted for secure borders, safe streets, and knowing that the president was going to initiate a deportation effort, not just because he wants to, but because we just had about 12 million people enter the country and being encountered by CBP crossing the border illegally. Something must be done about
what Elon Musk had to say, and it was a lot. Here's the first bombshell announcement that he wrote. No bill should be passed by Congress until January 20th when President-elect Trump takes office. None. Zero. And then here's the post that is now triggering chaos. He writes this: any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill deserves to be voted out in 2 years. So he's pretty much putting them on notice. And I'm sure President-elect Trump is sitting back just laughing, because how else are these individuals going to be held accountable, right? When was the last time in history where someone had this type of influence, could call them out, read the bill, call bullshit, and absolutely put pressure on them to do the right thing? And then Vivek obviously offering a solution. Here's what he said. Yes, it is possible to enact a simple one-page continuing resolution instead of 1,500 pages omnibus pork fest. Here it is. And he obviously includes the very first page of the actual resolution. And here's Congressman Thomas Massie calling out Speaker Johnson. And there's so many others that are going after him, which we will show you here shortly. But here's what he said. People call me Nostradamus for accurately predicting that Speaker Johnson would use the Christmas recess to force a massive spending bill through Congress. After claiming he would not, Johnson is embracing a DC tradition that's nearly as old as decorating Christmas trees. And here's the actual clip of Mike Johnson saying that he wouldn't do this. Let's listen to that really quickly.
We have broken the Christmas omni, and I have no intention of going back to that terrible tradition. So there won't be a Christmas omnibus. As somebody asked me in the hallway a little while ago, will there be many buses? We don't want any buses. We're not going to do any buses, okay?
And Benny Johnson on X posted this, highlighting a key issue with this bill, which is why it points to the issue. Why are you guys including all of this craziness inside a funding bill? He writes, breaking a new provision in the latest ER lets Congress block subpoenas for House data, including emails, potentially preventing any investigation into the January 6th committee. So we already know where this is going, right? They're trying to stuff things into this bill to prevent Trump or Kash Patel or Pam Bondi from holding people accountable. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy was not finished ripping this bill. In fact, he posted a video summing up other issues that are now going viral on social media and getting a lot of backlash. Let's take a look at it.
Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money, but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you.
It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay rate.
Elon Musk was not elected to be president of the United States. In fact, he was not elected to be dog catcher. And by the way, what all of this hoopla is really about, above and beyond everything I'm talking about, is that when Trump and Musk come into power in late January, do you know what their first order of business will be? You think it'll be to fix healthcare? You think it'll be deal with climate change? Deal with homelessness? Well, if you thought that, you're dead wrong. Their first order of business will be to provide massive tax breaks for the wealthiest people in this country and the largest corporations. So think about it. At a time of unprecedented income and wealth inequality, when Musk himself is worth almost $500 billion, what these guys want to do is give more tax breaks to billionaires and the heads of large corporations.
It's tough talk on the global stage. The left is already trying to put down President-elect Trump's policies.
What we saw today with Tom Homan is fear-mongering. It's telling all of us that we should be on alert.
The question we have to ask ourselves is, what will this mass deportation policy ask of us? Right? What will we have to concede to and consent to?
So it's going to be Panama Canal this week or next, and then the weeks thereafter, it will be another pet project of the billionaire class.
It's a very Putin-esque thing to make these grandiose claims.
Given the Putin-esque sort of language that's being used here, one wonders, like, really, how far actually would he go?
These kinds of insults, could provoke them into a confrontation with the United States.
Pollster Lee Carter is president of Maslansky and Partners. She joins us now. Lee, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
You literally have your hand or your eyes on the dial of how Americans react to things like this. On one hand, you have Trump's Truth Social posts that are bombastic, and then on the other hand, you have this left reaction that is probably over the top. Which one of those is winning in the competition of Americans' opinions?
Well, Americans are more optimistic than they have been in the last 4 years. And we're seeing in polling that people are excited about what Trump is going to do. And these kinds of reactions by the media to Donald Trump only embolden his support. What we're seeing, and we saw this all throughout the election cycle, the more you attack him, the more you call him a dictator, the more you call him Putin-esque, the more you use these kinds of phrases, the more people support him. When you talk to voters out there, they're excited about what he might do on the Panama Canal. They're excited about what he might do, not afraid of it. And what all of this does is make people feel like the media is very much out of touch with the concerns of the American people.
I think when we look at this tweet that he put out yesterday, and the narrative for the last couple of weeks of this, Greenland and Panama and how he's treating Canada and Mexico, I think maybe people inside the Beltway and on channels that talk about politics are getting in the weeds. But don't most Americans feel that as, wow, look at this juxtaposition of how are we going to make it to we're doing so well we can expand what we're doing?
There's such a huge gap between what the hardworking American people do and then the ruling class believe. And it is widening, and it just makes the voter feel, or the average American person feel, that the ruling class or the media or the liberal elite are completely out of touch with their concerns. And they very much feel that Donald Trump is going to fight for them. When you look at the polling, more than 78% of Americans feel that Donald Trump is going to fight for their interests. And they don't feel the same about the liberal elite.
Is it changing at all now that different people are being nominated? You see these fights on social media where people are saying, well, that's too liberal of a cabinet. That's too radical of a person for that position. It might be in the weeds of just my feed that's curated to me, but are you seeing Americans react in that way? Because Donald Trump threw a huge tent this time around and brought in people from kind of all walks of the political spectrum.
When you want to hate someone, you're going to find ways to hate them.
Fair enough.
When you want to have hope, you're going to find ways to have hope. And what's happening through this whole cabinet process is very much a mirror image of what people see already. So if they hated Donald Trump, they're hating every one of these candidates that's being put forth. If they have hope that Donald Trump is going to bring a better American future, they are hopeful that these candidates are the right ones to fill out the cabinet. Many people are excited by the variety of folks that are coming in. Many people are enthusiastic. There's certainly some people who are afraid. There's no
the administration that's coming in. We're calling on the senators and Congress people that have made their promises to honor what everyone has said to never forget.
New York City Fire Department unions are calling for the restoration of funding to the James Zadroga 9/11 Health and Compensation Act after it was left out of Congress's funding on Friday. The act guarantees medical treatment for first responders, firefighters, and survivors who helped with the recovery efforts following the World Trade Center attack. It also provides financial compensation for those who suffered injuries, illnesses, or death as a result.
We're calling on the administration that's coming in. We're calling on the senators and Congress people that have made their promises to honor what everyone has said to never forget.
New York City Fire Department unions are calling for the restoration of funding to the James Zadroga 9/11 Health and Compensation Act after it was left out of Congress's funding on Friday. The act guarantees medical treatment for first responders, firefighters, and survivors who helped with the recovery efforts following the World Trade Center attack. It also provides financial compensation for those who suffered injuries, illnesses, or death as a result.
Me too. So smaller vehicles are selling faster as buyers feel a budget crunch. How inflation is changing and how Americans purchase a car. And a look back at the year in health, from Ozempic, food recalls, and social media. What you may have always better, especially for today's car buyers. With high vehicle costs and steep interest rates, many Americans are now downsizing. Max Gordon, Fox Business correspondent, is in Thousand Oaks, California. Hey there.
Hey there, Julie. Well, small cars are looking pretty big for 2025, and some manufacturers like Honda are looking to cash in. Right now, we're at Swickard Honda here in Thousand Oaks, checking out some of their small car offerings. This right here, the Honda Civic, one of them. This is going for about $27,000. The Honda Civic was a pioneer in the compact vehicle class.
This morning, growing reaction over President Biden's decision to commute the death sentences of 37 federal inmates. President-elect Donald Trump posting on social media saying he will direct the Justice Department to, quote, vigorously pursue the death penalty when he takes office. Some of the victims' families are also slamming President Biden's decision.
President Biden is commuting the death sentences of 37 of the 40 people on federal death row, nearly every prisoner on federal death row, and he's reclassifying them to life without the possibility of parole. And that will prevent incoming President Trump from executing them. Now, who is still facing the death penalty? The shooter from Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston in 2015, killing 9 black members of the church, the Boston Marathon bomber who killed 3 people, and the Tree of Life synagogue shooter who killed 11 congregants in the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in history. So progressive lawmakers, criminal justice advocates, they're applauding this decision, and Pope Francis had publicly urged President Biden to prevent the executions. They actually spoke over the phone just last week, which makes you wonder if that kind of prompted this. But going forward, President-elect Trump has said he would seek to expand the death penalty in his second term. And during his first term, he carried out 13 federal executions, and that ended a 17-year hiatus.